Hey guys, welcome back to Vince-Vell Custom. So we're going to do a work in progress video series on mimicking the Silver Banshee's gloves and boots. Now, as you can see in her artwork, she's got these really cool little flamey things coming off the sides. And that's where we're going to focus on mostly. I never really attempted something like this before because they could be very fragile. I'm not going to be able to get exactly like it is in this artwork, but the idea is there. She also has it in her boots, so it gives you an idea what we're trying to capture. So as you can see how it comes off her boots, where she's got these really cool boots, but it also flames and rips and comes off. So we want to follow that. So, as you can see, we are using a Catwoman premium format statue. Now, as you can see, we're going to go right into the arm. So most of the detailing is done on her, at least for the body. But we have to get these gloves and stuff done and boots done first before I can finish up with the hair. So, you can get these metal sheets. So I'll zoom out a little bit. So you get these metal sheets, they're K&S hardware. This one's aluminum, it's a little bit thicker. This one is tin, but it's a little bit thinner. But the only thing you got to be careful is when you use magnets on stuff, in the tin, it's going to magnetize. But with the aluminum, it's not, as you can see. So, you know, for this one, I think I'm going to use the aluminum because I think I can actually, not only could it cut a little bit better, but it also can probably be melted a little bit. Maybe with a heat gun and a pair of pliers, I could kind of melt it and bend it. So, I want to use it on this glove first, and then we'll kind of work on the other one. But as you can kind of see, what I did is I magnetized, put a metal rod here, and I put magnets in there, it goes in and out. So the idea is that, I'll put the metal rod, the tin going in here. It'll cover the arm, but it'll still come up. So this way, when I go to ship the statue, I can actually secure this piece in like a piece of foam, and I won't have to worry about it damaging on the whole statue. So the same thing I'm going to have to do is on the legs. So as you can kind of see, I made a little bit of a mark on the arm. A little bit of a mark here. And all this white area is going to cover this arm, and then it's going to come up. So this way, this seam will be completely covered, but it'll look like there's a glove coming over the arm and then coming up. So when I'm ready to start cutting up the sheet metal, I'll show you the tools. We'll start cutting some of the aluminum pieces. And I have the idea of what I'm doing. There's no set formula. I'm winging this, so you guys are just going to see how I'm winging this and see how it looks at the end when we're all done. The idea is there. I can visualize it. It's just that I can't explain it until I show you. So once I'm ready to get set up and I make some markings and I plan everything out, we'll come back and we'll start cutting up the sheets and we'll start doing the sculpting. Alright guys, so we're going to start getting these gloves worked out first. So the goal is I'm going to do the gloves, I'm going to get them worked out, so then I can pop them off and then I can work on the boots. And then after that I can work on the hair. So we're going to start with the gloves first. So as you can see, I have my Magic Sculpt. It's a resin. You mix A and B together, I already mixed some. So I'm going to go set up in the garage because I'm going to be using baby powder with working this out. I'll have to show you what I do with that, because with the baby powder you do it in your studio, it gets all over the place, at least in the garage. It can keep it all the dust in there. So let's go get set up in there and we'll start working on these. Alright, so as you can see, I put the Mag Sculpt all around it. It looks a little weird, but it's easier this way. So you take your baby powder, just throw it on there. So that gets rid of all the stickiness. So let's go up to the statue. Alright. And then what I like to do is take the piece, push it in, and kind of go around it. And you want to kind of pull it away, make sure. So we're starting to work out the key area. Now you have to play with this for like an hour or so, but as you can see, the baby powder helps it from not sticking, so we're starting to work out the piece going around. And it also filled in a little bit, so it's going to go in there flush. So you just have to keep making sure that it's on there. It's all going to get sanded down and reshaped. You have no choice with the matter, but you have to do it kind of thick. And it goes in and out. So I'm going to do this arm. we'll come back like in a couple hours, maybe tomorrow once it's all set. I'll have to play with it for like an hour or so, like I said, and just a matter of getting that inside area shaping, and then I can reshape all this. You could do it thinner, but when you do it thinner, it has to be hardened more. But then you don't. It's just, I find it easier when it's soft to do it this way and then sand it down. So it's going on there pretty well, and it goes on pretty far as well. So like I can, if I really wanted to, I'll probably maybe go a little bit more. Maybe throw some more baby powder in there. You don't want to leave it on, you want to keep playing with it, because if you leave it on and it's grabbing something, when you go to pull it out, it'll snap on you, pull or break or whatever. I probably should have my little bottle of water next to me while doing this, but, and if I can, kind of break out the muscle a little bit more. Not worried about if it's too loose, because that's kind of the idea. We just don't want to grab it. So because you can see, we're starting to really get that piece keyed up pretty well. But you also want to make sure you turn it and you're getting the other side correct. And like I said, you gotta kind of play with it. I gotta make sure it's nice and tight. It's all going to get sanded down. We're starting to work it all out. Now if I really wanted to, I could kind of, it's going to get lifted up anyway with the piece of metal, but we can kind of lift it a little bit just to give us a guide, which is fine. Okay, so what I got to do is I got to work on that other arm, and then we'll come back once it's all hardened up and we'll keep going. Alright, so it's been a few days. These are all hardened up. They pop out with no problem, as you can see. And so I'm going to go in the garage, I'm going to sand them down, and I'll come back once they're all sanded. It's really just a matter of sanding them, getting it a little bit of a flow going on there, and then coming back and showing you what's going on. Alright guys, so what I did is I took some blue pencil and I just kind of did some markings on it. It's kind of going to toy with it, so I'm going to go into the garage, I'm going to get my Dremel tool, and I'm going to kind of start drumming out like little stuff going around, and then later once we get it kind of where we want it, I'll add a piece of metal in here coming up, but I have to kind of keep toying with it and seeing where I'm going. But I'm also going to have to probably thicken up some of the insides as well, just to kind of maybe secure it a little bit more. I don't really know, but it's just a matter now of just drumming it out and starting working out, like, you know, the whole entire piece coming up. Alright guys, so I went in the garage and I started to try to sand down and drill out pieces, as you can see, and it was just breaking up, and I knew that that was going to happen. So what I decided to do is just do an experiment, just mess around. I grabbed, as you can see, the pliers and the cutters, and I started cutting up the metal pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this. So I cut up this piece, and I'm going to glue it on here like that, right? As you can kind of see, I'm getting a little bit closer here. So as you can see, I'm going to glue it on like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take eaves and I'm going to start sculpting eaves around it, and it's going to get secured and it's going to be on there. So then once this is all kind of secured on and it kind of looks like it's ripped up coming up, I'll be able to drill through here and here to create little holes, and I can use my Dremel and stuff to chop that up without it breaking all this up. So it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like securing it, and it's going to be nice and sturdy, so this way it comes in and out and it goes. So as you can kind of see, it's going to be like that. It's going to be a little bit more crazier than that artwork, but that's fine. I think that'll come out looking pretty cool. It's gives her a little bit more texture and stuff. So with it being up a little bit higher, as you can kind of see in there, I'll be able to put the holes like I was doing here through this, and it'll be secured and it won't break it all up. So what I'll have to do is I'm just going to go in the garage, I'm going to cut up a bunch of pieces, I'm going to glue them on, and I'll come back and I'll show you what I did. I would like to try to do a video while I'm cutting these pieces, but this stuff will slice your fingers. I already kind of cut my finger there. So I just got to make sure I take my time and get it to where I want it and everything. So we'll come back and I'll show you all the metal pieces glued onto it, and then we can start sculpting and, you know, going from there. Alright guys, so after in the garage cutting up a bunch of pieces and gluing, experimenting and trying, seeing what's what, just pretty much started chopping up metal and gluing it on. So it's not exactly as flush to the arm as I wanted to, but this is a statue and I gotta find that middle ground where it's gonna work but also not be, you know, fragile. So it's kind of, you know, I had to find this middle ground. I know it's kind of hard to explain, but so you know, it's just pretty much all messy. And I think what I'm going to do now is, now that I'm looking at it, I'm going to sculpt up it. I'm going to make it really messy up around the arm instead of making it flush and going up perfect, which is not really going to work that well. I think it'll give a really cool transition with, you know, the outfit being smooth, the hair being flowing, but then we have these cuffs on her, gloves and boots, all really messy and just kind of really out there. So this is what I'm going to do. So I think the next step is, once the glue dries a little bit, I'm going to have to go with some Magic Sculpt in the inside again, you know, up in these areas in here, and secure it all on that end and push it in and make sure it's all flush again, you know, going in and out like I did before last time, but this time I'll be a little bit neater. And then once all that's done, I can use some either you know, some more Magic Sculpt again or some Aves and kind of do it. So now when I get it to that point, and I think what's going to happen is maybe some of this metal might actually start sticking out in certain areas. I'll have to get a Dremel tool and a really fine, you know, sandpaper on the Dremel and sand those areas down a little bit just to kind of get it out there. But this is kind of what I'm coming up with. It's going to be a little bit thicker than with the metal showing because, you know, you just can't paint this and stuff because it'll just bend. But when the A's and Magic Sculpt get on it, it'll be all secured and we'll have a really cool looking glove going up her arm. So let's, you know, what I'll do is off camera is I'll get the Magic Sculpt set up underneath the metal on the arm, and once all that's done we can come back and I can show you what I'm going to do with all the sculpting. Alright, so it's been a few nights getting back to this piece, just looking it over, what I've done. The other night, I had some extra A's, so what I did is I just started working out, filling this in and patching it up and just getting it worked out. Not doing the video on that, but it just gives you an idea of just filling it up and giving it that flamey, like, you know, torn up look. I'm not going to go crazy trying to sand down the pieces up here because I like the way the Aves is working on it. It gives it some really cool texture. But what I really do need to sand down though is basically where the muscle is, you know, like around in here, this piece, and around in there, and the same thing on the other arm. So I just got to sand it down. I will be hitting some of the metal, but any of the metal that's showing around this piece here and around, you know, like the muscle down in here, what I'll have to do is I'll have to get a grinding tool, but we'll get to that later. So it's just an experiment. I'm having fun, but I do like the way it's turning out. It is more secured now because if you had this with regular Aves, it would just snap off and break. But it still is bendable, so I still might have to thicken it up in some areas, but I still want to keep it thin. But at least it's still more secured now and everything. And it leaves room for error in case it ever snaps or breaks down the line. It won't fall off. It could just bend. You bend it back, add some Aves, and then repaint it. So we'll be back when we add some more stuff to it.